Hey everyone, so have you ever been scrolling through job postings and felt like you're trying to decode a secret language? Data scientist, data engineer, data analyst, the list goes on. The world of data is absolutely exploding, but wow, the titles can be confusing. Today, we're going to fix that. We're going to decode it all. This is the big question, isn't it? I mean, a data analyst at one company might be doing the exact same thing as a data scientist somewhere else. So are these just fancy words for the same job? Or is there a real fundamental difference? Let's clear this up once and for all. All right, let's jump in. The easiest way to untangle all these roles is to follow the journey of one single piece of data. So let's imagine you just played your favorite song on Spotify. That one simple tap, it creates a data point. And we're going to follow that data point on its entire adventure to see exactly who touches it and when.
Okay, first things first. Before you can do anything cool with data, you have to actually get your hands on it. This is the foundation. It's all about building the digital roads, the pipes, the entire highway system that lets data get from where it's created to where it needs to go. So meet the very first expert on our team, the data infrastructure engineer. And you've got to love this analogy. Think of them as data plumbers. Seriously, they don't really care what the data is about. Their whole job is to make sure it flows smoothly and reliably, with no leaks, no clogs, no problems. So let's go back to Spotify. When you hit play, the data infrastructure engineer is the one who built the system that catches that event. They use these incredible tools like Apache Kafka to handle millions of these events every second. And they set up what are called data lakes, just massive storage systems for all this raw, messy, unfiltered information. Okay, so now we have a flood of raw data, but it's a mess. This is where the data engineer comes in. If our first role was the plumber, this role is the data architect. They take that chaotic flood of raw information and they design a beautiful, clean, organized library where everything is easy to find and ready to be used. At Spotify, this means the data engineer grabs all those raw logs, every song play, every user click, and they clean them up. They organize everything into neat, structured tables. Maybe a table that shows every single user's listening habits for that day. They literally turn chaos into order. All right, so our data highway is built. The library is perfectly organized. Now the fun really begins. We can finally start asking questions. This whole stage is about analysis. It's about finding the hidden stories and the powerful insights buried in all those numbers. Our next expert is the business intelligence engineer, or just BI engineer. Their job is to build the windows into our data library. They create these automated dashboards and tools so that the company's leaders can see at a single glance how things are going. They track all the key metrics day in and day out. For Spotify, a BI engineer would probably build a dashboard showing which playlists are suddenly trending in Brazil, or how user engagement is looking this week compared to last week. Their whole goal is to give a high-level, real-time snapshot of the business's health. But what if you have a really specific, one-time question that the dashboard doesn't answer? Well, that's when you call in the data analyst. I love this one. Think of them as data detectives. They get a specific case, a specific business question, and they dive deep into the data to find clues and solve the mystery. So, for example, a Spotify exec might ask, hey, why are we seeing this massive surge of listeners in Argentina all of a sudden? The data analyst would be the one to dig in, find out it's because a particular artist just blew up on social media, and then recommend a marketing campaign around that artist. They answer the what and the why. Okay, let's lock this in because this is where a lot of people get confused. Here's the best way to think about it. The BI engineer builds the dashboard in your car, the speedometer, the fuel gauge, the stuff you look at every single day. The data analyst, they're the mechanic you call when the check engine light comes on, and you need someone to run a diagnostic and figure out exactly what's wrong. So far, we've understood what happened in the past and what's happening right now. But the real magic of data is using it to predict the future. This is where we shift from just analyzing things to building brand new features and making scientific predictions. And enter the data scientist. This role is really about applying the scientific method to business problems. They don't just find interesting patterns. They form a hypothesis, an educated guess. Then they design an experiment to test it and use heavy-duty statistics to prove whether it's true or not. So at Spotify, a data scientist is tackling a big question, like if we add a lyrics feature to the app, will people actually listen to music longer?
They would design a proper A/B test, showing the new feature to half the users and not the other half. Then they'd rigorously analyze the results to give a definitive data-backed answer, yes or no.
So the data scientist proved the model works. It's a great idea. But who makes that idea a reality for hundreds of millions of people? That is the machine learning engineer. They are the crucial bridge between a brilliant algorithm sitting on a laptop and a real-world product feature that works perfectly for everyone every time. I mean, think about your Discover Weekly playlist on Spotify. You love it, right? A data scientist might have come up with the core concept, but it's the ML engineer who makes sure that a unique, personalized playlist gets generated for 300 million people every single Monday morning without ever crashing. So the key difference here is really important. The data scientist is like the research scientist in a lab, figuring out if a new drug actually works. The ML engineer, they're the chemical engineer who has to design the entire factory to manufacture that drug for the whole world. It's the difference between research and production. And there you have it. It's kind of amazing when you think about it. We started with one simple tap on a screen, and we've watched that piece of data travel through the hands of 6 totally different specialists. They aren't just overlapping jobs. They are a relay team, each one passing the baton to the next. And here it is, the ultimate cheat sheet, putting it all in one place. You can see how each role has its own distinct focus, its own set of skills, and its own tools of the trade. From the infrastructure engineer's data pipelines all the way to the ML engineer's massive scaled-up models. They all have to work together to unlock the true power of data. So the next time you see these job titles pop up, you'll know exactly who does what. The journey of data is a true team sport. You need the plumbers, the architects, the detectives, and the scientists. It really makes you think, if you had this whole team at your fingertips, what's the first big problem you'd want them to solve?